And everyone, this is the tale of Persephone.
Deep under Mount Etna, the gods had buried alive a number of fearful, fire-breathing monsters. The giants heaved and struggled to get free, and so mightily did they shake the earth that Hades, king of the underworld, was alarmed.
They may tear the rocks asunder and leave the realm of the dead open to the light of day, he thought.
Mounting his golden chariot, he went up to see what damage had been done.
And the goddess of love and beauty, fair Aphrodite, was sitting on a mountainside,
playing with her son Eros, the young god of love.
She saw Hades as he drove around with his coal-black horses.
And she said, "My son, there is one who defies your power and mine. Quick, take up your darts, send an arrow into that breast of that dark monarch. Let him too feel the pangs of love. Why should he alone escape them?"
Eros leaped to his feet. He chose from his quiver his sharpest and truest arrow, fitted to his bow, drew the string, and shot straight into Hades' heart.
The grim king had seen fair maids enough in the gloomy underworld over which he ruled, but never had his heart been touched.
Now, an unaccustomed warmth stole through his veins, his stern eyes softened.
Before him was a blossoming valley, and along its edge a charming girl was gathering flowers.
She was Persephone, daughter of Demeter, the goddess of the earth and harvest.
She had strayed to her companions, and now that the basket overflowed with blossoms, she was filling her aprons with lilies and violets.
The god looked at Persephone and loved her at once. With one sweep of her arm, he caught her up and rode swiftly away.
"Mother!" she screamed, while the flowers fell from her apron. "Mother!" and she cried to all her companions.
But they were already out of sight. So fast did Hades urge the horses on. In a few moments, they were at the river Styx.
Persephone struggled. Her loosened belt fell to the ground.
But the god held her tight. He struck the bank with his trident.
The earth opened and the darkness swallowed them all. Horses, chariot, Hades, and weeping Persephone.
From end to end of earth, Demeter sought her daughter.
None could tell her where Persephone was.
At last, worn out and despairing, the goddess returned to the river Styx, where Hades had left the earth and gone down into his own dominions.
The wood god had seen carrying off his prize. He wanted to tell Demeter where his daughter went, but fear of Hades kept him dumb. Yet, he picked up the belt that Persephone had dropped, and the wood god wafted it onto the waves of the feet of Demeter.
"Ungrateful soil," she said, "I made you fertile. I clothed you in grass and nourishing grain, and this is how you reward me? No more shall you enjoy my favors."
That year was the most cruel mankind had ever known. Nothing prospered, nothing grew. The cattle died, the seed would not come up. Men and oxen toiled in vain.
There was too much rain, there was too much sun. Thistles and weeds were the only thing that grew. It seemed that mankind would die of hunger.
The goddess knew then that her daughter was gone indeed, but she did not suspect Hades of carrying her off.
"This cannot go on," said mighty Zeus. "I see that I must intervene."
And one by one, he sent the gods of godness to plead with Demeter.
Zeus, of course, knew well where Persephone was. He did not like to take from his brother the one joyful thing in his life, but he saw that he must if the race of man was to be preserved.
So he called Hermes, the messenger god, to him and said,
"Descend to the underworld, my son. Bid Hades release his bride. Provided she has not tasted food in the realm of the dead, she may return to her mother forever."
Down sped Hermes on his winged feet, and there, in the dim palace of the king, he found Persephone, Hades' son.
She was pale and joyless.
Not all the glittering treasures of the underworld could bring a smile to her lips.
"I have no flowers here," she would say to her husband when he pressed gems upon her. Jewels have no fragrance. I do not want them.
When she saw Hermes and heard his message,
Her heart leapt within her.
her cheeks grew rosy and her eyes sparkled.
She knew that Hades would not to dare disobey his brother's command. She sprang up, ready to go at once. Only one thing troubled her.
She could not leave the underworld forever, for she had accepted a pomegranate from Hades and sucked the sweet pulp from 4 of the seeds.
With a heavy heart, Hades made ready his golden car. He helped Persephone in.
While Hermes took up the reins.
Dear wife, said the king, and his voice trembled as he spoke, think kindly of me, I pray you, for indeed I love you truly. You'll be lonely here these 8 months you're away, and if you think mine is a gloomy palace to return to, at least remember that your husband is great among the immortals, so fare you well and get your fill of flowers.
It drove the black horses.
The goddess heard the chariot wheels, and as a deer bounds over the hills, she ran out swiftly to meet her daughter.
Persephone flew into her mother's arms.
And the sad tale of each turned into joy in he telling, and so it is to this day.
1/3 of the year Persephone spends in the gloomy abode of Hades, 1 month for each siege that she tasted.
The nature dies, the leaves fall, the earth stops bringing forth.
In spring, Persephone returns, and with her come the flowers, followed by summer's fruitfulness and the rich harvest of the fall. And this is the tale of Persephone.
Woo!